Hi friends, so welcome to this Leetcode problem, basic calculator. So this is a very interesting problem and it's asked in many top companies. So let's go through this question. So basically you are given a string S, which is like a string which can contain characters as well as digits also. So it's kind of a arithmetic expression which you are given, and the operations which are valid are you can do addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, right? So these are the operations and you have to return the result, right? So what makes this question interesting is the evaluation part. How are you going to evaluate this? For example, if you are given 3 plus 2 multiplied by 2. Okay, so what is the answer? So obviously this is the precedence which is taking place, right? So what you got to do is you have to add 4, then 3 plus 4 and it becomes 7, right? Makes sense. So how should we solve it? So this is the output and you are given the constraints. These all will be integers, and if it is a 0 it should truncate towards 0. Okay, and this looks fine so far. So and if you see this, then 3 divides by 2 is 1. Obviously spaces and all we don't need it, so that is also there. And yeah, if you see this expression, then you have to give precedence of 5 divided by 2 becomes 2 and 3 plus 2 is 5, right? So output should be 5. So how do you solve it, right? So if you see, you are, and you can traverse this from left to right, and you also have to store the numbers. For example, if it is 100 plus 3, this is your string. So one thing you can do is you have to evaluate 100, right? So it is nothing but s of I, uh, you can take a number, initialize it to 0, and you can do num equals to num multiplied by 10 plus the sky value of this integer, right? So this is how you can calculate the number, right? So this is one part, and you are traversing from left to right. So let's say if I take this example, so you store it, right? You store 3. Now what happens? You are getting plus, but you don't have the next expression. So what we can try to do is we can maintain a sign variable, right? So let's say the initial variable is plus of sign. Okay, and now you simply, what you do is, if you get a plus, right, if you encounter a plus, then what you will do, you will append that num inside a stack. Because why I'm trying to use stack is because at the end you will be evaluating the numbers. For example, if you have 3, what you will do, you will isolate the expression, you will multiply this, you have 4, right? So what you can do, you know that you have to add them at last when you're evaluating from stack. So we will start from the whatever is at the top of the stack, right? So we will pick up 2 expressions and add them, so this becomes 7. Okay, so that is what my algorithm will do. And for example, in this case also, what I will do, that let's say this is my example, so I will have 3 in my stack, and 5 by 2 also I will store. Okay, so I will have a 2 here. So these will be the elements in the stack, so they will look like in stack as 2 and 3. 2 is at the top and 3, and I will evaluate and add both of them. If let's say there is a negative integer, then what I will do, if there is a negative integer, then instead of 3, I will store minus 3. Okay, so instead of 3, if let's say it is what I'm trying to say is that if it is a negative integer, then yeah, first would be stored as 3 and another would be minus 2. Make sense? So it would be evaluating to 1. But what I have to understand here in the problem is that I have to delay by 1, right? Because when I encounter plus, then I don't have the other number, right? So what I can do, I can have a variable sign initialized as plus. So and initially I will have this as plus, and I will have iterate through the loop. So this would be my loop, and I will iterate in this loop. Let's say this is my loop statement, and if let's say it's a digit, if it's a digit, then this would be executed. If let's say s of I is a digit, then this expression would be executed. Else, if let's say I have these characters, valid characters, which can be plus, minus, etc. Okay, and divided and multiplication, then what you have to do is that if let's say sign equals to plus, so you will append into the stack st.push sign, right? So how it would benefit is that initially you will initialize it plus, so first expression integer will always be inserted, वो हमेशा insert हो जाएगा, ठीक है, और हमें कोई इशू भी नहीं आएगा. और अगर नेगेटिव है, अगर इफ साइन अगर नेगेटिव है, तो व्हाट वी विल डू इज, हम लोग इसको असाइन कर देंगे, वी विल इंसर्ट इट एज नेगेटिव नंबर, राइट, नेगेटिव नंबर, राइट. और अगर और लास्ट में हम क्या करेंगे, वी विल अपडेट द साइन एज एस ऑफ आई, वी विल अपडेट इट, एंड व्हाट वी विल डू इज this is my basic algorithm which I am thinking, and we will initialize number as 0 because next time in another iteration we will again evaluate, right? What about the negative multiplication and division expressions, right? So when you get this integers, then you will know, right, that you have something in the stack at the top, right? Because the first expression would always be there, so one element will always be there in the stack. So the stack would be of integer where you are storing the number. Okay, so in multiplication and division also you can just take out the value, and for example if sign equals to multiplication, then you what you can do here is that you can take some temp variable and you can store there st.top. And in this, another thing what you can do here is you can have you have to pop the current element, because now you will store the result. So st.push temp multiplied by num. Makes sense, right? Similarly for the division also we can do, but here you see you have the left and the right, so you will have left divided by right. Makes sense? So this is how you will and at last what you would have, you have result, or you can say answer, and you can just traverse the stack, and while and you can do answer plus equals to st dot top, and you can do the st dot pop, and at last you can return the result. So I know it's really hard to understand this, but once I code it, then you will be able to understand. So I will use the language C++ for coding this. I hope this algorithm makes sense. So now let's jump into the solution and try to code it. So यहाँ पे you have your expression string s. So what I would have to do first, I have to insert it the plus y plus, क्योंकि मुझे लास्ट वाला जो एक्सप्रेशन है वो भी इंसर्ट करना है, राइट, इनटू द स्टैक. सो otherwise it will be left. So it's a smart way of handling it, so I will do this. And let's move on to the another part, which will be int n is equals to exercise, and I can have a num initialized to 0, and what else, result or answer equals to 0. Then I can just traverse this loop. Okay, and what else we have to do here, just thinking that you are traversing, and you can see if it is a digit, if it's a digit of if s of I is a digit, then you can say num equals to num multiplied by 10 plus s of I minus 0. Okay, this makes sense. And else if s of I अगर प्लस हुआ या s of I इक्वल टू माइनस, और s of I equals to division, or s of I equals to multiplication. If this is the case, folks, then what we have to do, and we will also take a sign variable. So let's initialize it at initially plus. तो पहले आइटरेशन में क्या होगा, जैसे ही उसको प्लस मिलेगा वो फर्स्ट नंबर इंसर्ट कर देगा, एंड वी हैव टू टेक स्टैक आल्सो. सो स्टैक ऑफ इंटीजर st, एंड इफ साइन इक्वल्स टू प्लस st dot push s of I, not s of I but num, right? And if sign equals to negative, then we will store minus num, and we can in fact have a else if here. Else if s of I equals to division, then we can push int temp is equals to st dot top, st dot pop, and I can push temp multiplied by num, and for example division. And here another thing we can have is for multiplication. So I will just do the same thing. तो दिस इज़ डन, एंड नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन कि मेरी स्टैक का फुल हो चुकी है, राइट? तो नंबर इज इंसर्टेड. नाउ आई हैव टू इनिशियलाइज नंबर 0 सो दैट इट कीप्स ऑन गेटिंग अपडेटेड फ्रॉम हियर द नेक्स्ट सेट ऑफ नंबर. एंड देन आई वुड डू व्हाट, I will make sign equals to s of I, right? And I will say that while not stack dot empty, please go ahead and add it to the result. Answer plus equals to st dot top and st dot pop. And remember that negative is handled by minus, so that is why it is making sense, and others are just the additions of the previous results. So we will return answer. Let's check for any compilation errors. So this looks fine, this is fine. I don't see an issue here. Yeah, let's run it. Oh, awesome. So we will just submit this and see what's the time complexity and stuff. So it beats 61 solution. We can analyze the complexity. So complexity is order of n. which also makes sense. And space complexity is order of n as well, because we are appending at least every character once. One thing you might be wondering, that how you are handling spaces. So spaces are not handled because we have iterated here and we are not considering spaces, so that should be fine, right? And so this is the solution for it. So hopefully it makes sense, and if you have any doubts or any clarifications, please comment in the video, and I'll try to respond on that, and try to practice this problem. It's a very interesting problem, and if you want such more amazing content and for your coding skills and for interview preparation, please consider joining our Instagram Threads community and other social media. We are on Discord, Instagram, and Threads. And yeah, so please consider watch and subscribe this video as well. Thank you for watching.